Turbo Tom?
Well, that's myself. I call myself Tom, not Turbo Tom. Everyone else calls me Turbo Tom because of what people might have seen. There is a GSXR Turbo that is mine down there, and that's the bike that I do the wheelies on. That's what everyone will have seen from the videos and different stuff I've been posting anyway.
Yeah, so for people who don't know, he enjoys doing wheelies, is that fair?
Yeah, I say it's been a very good, sustainable, partial career for 10 years, so yeah, definitely.
So most people's reaction, especially those who don't ride bikes, is he's a madman, he's nuts. Can you walk us through your reaction to that?
Well, I get mixed reactions, but you do get a lot of reactions where people don't believe you. When you talk about what I do on motorcycles, whether it is that bike or other bikes or anything like that, is generally you have to send them the YouTube videos and they go, flipping heck, is that you? And I show them because, on average, it's not something really you discuss, you bring out in conversation, then it gets mentioned, and then all of a sudden everyone's just sending and giving phones about going, oh, that's him doing 180 miles an hour on one wheel.
180 miles an hour on one wheel.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through then some of the stuff you've been up to? It just sounds insane.
Well, realistically, to sort of get to that point, you've got to work your way through going from like naturally aspirated, low power motorcycles, working your way up, and basically getting to the point where you can ride a turbo machine at Elvington, because you can just turn up with one, but you've got to possess a certain ability and that ability can only be somewhat sort of learned through pure progress. You've got to go event after event after event. You've got to fail, not by crashing. I'm on about by not being able to lift it at the speed you want. But yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think the image most people think of is like this bad boy image with people who've just passed their CBT trying to pop wheelies down the street. What would you give to people who want to get into wheeling? And how do you get rid of that bad boy image?
Well, realistically, I think everybody sort of learns doing exactly what you just said. We all start on small CC bikes, doing it in places where we really shouldn't, which is the road. We know that you probably shouldn't do it, it's illegal. So going from there, I kind of wanted to get away from the whole bike life culture. Now, the bike life culture is what it is. It's never going to change, and it's something that I don't really associate with because I like to do it on the track, which is Elvington Airfield, runway 26, and the events run by Straight Liners Events. So I sort of come away from the road, and it's less risky as well, because if you get caught doing a wheelie, you're banned. It's outright. So it affects you in multiple different ways, and they take lots of money off you as well to the police, which I don't like. But anyway, Straight Liners Events is what I used. And then throughout my entire career, I just stayed with them doing it.
How many competitions have you done at Elvington?
So without going down the route of doing like the nationals and the other stuff like that, I've done 9 wheelie competitions at Elvington in my sort of like career of doing it.
And you have an unofficial top speed on a different bike, don't you?
Yes, so I've got, it's technically, so all in all, there's about 3 world records, but unofficial records now. So I've got the fastest record on that GSXR there, which is 184.8 miles an hour over the kilometre into the standing mile. And then on my R1, my yellow one, that's 173.2 miles an hour on the kilometre, same thing. But also, I also did the fastest wheelie in the rain when I was filming for Channel 5 at the time. And that was 150 miles an hour, completely blind. I couldn't see anything, so I just counted seconds in my head.
So another important part of fast wheelies is landing safely. Can you walk us through that?
Well, when you're going to the speeds like I do, if everyone can sort of imagine, the faster a motorcycle's going, it doesn't need to be as high. But one thing when you're coming down from any wheelie, whether that's in second, third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear, sixth gear, whatever, is you have to come down on full power with your bars straight. Because if you don't, and you let it slam down, there is a lot of bad things that come in your way. A lot of bad things. But coming down safely is about coming down on power, not hitting the limiter, not braking, just let it come down itself. Full power, you'll ride away and do your next wheelie.
And would you say that's more important than actually popping the wheelie?
I think the most important thing with the wheelie is making sure that when you're learning it, is you learn at your own pace. And it's not really about the landings part, because every one of us will always hit the limiter at one point. I've hit the limiter on that before in fourth gear, and I tell you what, I thought the world was going to end. It was a horrific experience. But by sort of doing little things like that and actually going wrong, generally speaking, that's how you learn. but without flipping it. We don't want to flip it. Don't want to flip it. No looping.
So at Elvington, how did you get into it? Is there a process that you need to take?
Yeah, so many years ago, I don't know if anyone will remember, there was a magazine called Street Fighters Magazine. Now, Street Fighters Magazine used to pretty much, hence Street Fighters Magazine, that's what it was. And there was an advert in it, and it literally said wheelie competition. Now, bearing in mind, I was 22 years old at this point. I was wheeling on the road, doing all these sort of the other silly things, incriminating myself there. I hope this is not going on YouTube. But
In Mexico.
obviously in Mexico, not the M1. So I saw this advert for a wheelie competition, and all my mates were like, you can do that. I was like, oh, shall I do it? So I literally turned up, got my bike there, and everything they state when you turn up is you have to do what you call a kilometre wheelie. You have to go from A to B, and it's a full kilometre, and you're not given your speed unless you complete that kilometre. And there's spotters down the entire runway. And I did the kilo my first ever time I ever went, and that was it. The addiction started. It was done. Worse than drugs, I'm telling you.
And you are also building other bikes, like the dirt bikes. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so I work closely with a company called Raven Engineering, and what we basically do together is we make the most obscene bikes that we possibly can. I sort of promote them online, and these are anything from like Hayabusa swap dirt bikes to, literally turbocharged supermotos. Just when money is no option, you can literally sort of look at it in any sense that you want, but then you have to have some sort of sensibility. So then you choose different options. Like with any bike building, you don't have to spend hundreds of thousands of pounds. You can keep things really within where you want. You've just got to have a dream for it.
Just to recap, just to jump back, did you say a kilometre wheelie, full stretch, you have to go?
Yeah. So you get given what you call the standing mile, and between the start mile and basically the kilometre, so you've got maybe a couple of 100 metres, you then have to lift the bike and do a full kilometre on the back wheel and then go through the timing lights at the back end of the runway. And then if you drop it mid-run and lift it, it doesn't count. You could literally do a world record that run and it will not count. And there's people from Guinness who stand down the runway and actually watch you, and they film you. You've got to put GoPros under the swing arm, everything. It's proper serious stuff.
So we've got a kilometre wheelie, and then you've also got 182, was it?
184.8 on that one. And then people might have seen, do you remember the advertised ZX10 Turbo that was there on the pictures? I did achieve a 201 miles an hour on that one, but that's not my bike, that was a sponsored bike. I wish it was my bike, it's my dream bike, but I didn't have about £35,000 to buy it, so that went back to its owner.
So there we go. The guy who's done a 200 mile an hour, 180 mile an hour wheelie, 200 mile an hour, kilometre wheelie. If I know who I want building my bikes. So yeah, go and follow him, check him out, speak to him. Turbo Tom, everyone. Thanks very much.
Thank you everyone.